Cuba is apparently a total shithole. It is awful. And people living there are living in total, absolute poverty. And Nick Shirley went to Cuba to try to raise awareness to this and another country that has been the victim of communism.
What percentage of people do you think are suffering here in Cuba?
La mayoría.
The majority.
La mayoría.
What's your thoughts on communism? ¿Qué piensas de comunismo?
The worst thing to ever exist is communism. Because in reality, no one is a communist.
Are even in operation right now because there's quite literally no gas.
And we stand out like sore thumbs here, so they're wondering why we're here with cameras, interviewing people. They want to know what's happening and what people are saying. That's why people are not talking to us much.
They're asking why are we trying to leave the hotel early.
They want to talk to us.
Cuba right now is facing one of the largest humanitarian crises in the world. Cuba's government is a one-party communist-ruled country, and they are facing massive food shortages, daily blackouts, and a lack of medicine. And right now, a U.S. blockade is restricting oil and gas from coming inside of the country. With communism and socialism on the rise in the West, I wanted to see what life in communism is really like.
Well, the reason why communism and socialism is on the rise in the West, one of the big reasons is we keep importing people from communist and socialist countries. We need to send them the fuck back.
And
that's what
Cuba
I think.
has been living underneath communism for over 60 years. Upon arrival, I completed all required documents and had received a visa for journalistic activity. However, once I landed, all my camera gear was seized, and within 24 hours, I was planning my escape out of Cuba after their intelligence followed me all day, and a 2-star general came searching for me at the hotel.
That is insane.
Now let's go see the reality of Cuba and eventually plan our escape out of Cuba.
Holy shit.
Where are the people at? ¿Dónde está la gente? No hay nadie aquí en la calle, no hay nadie aquí en estas casas. ¿Dónde está la gente?
The problem is that there's no gasoline. It's not easy to move.
I do have to say, one of the best ironies of all of this is the fact that Nick Shirley seems to be more fluent in Spanish than he is in English. It's so fucking funny.
We have a lot of limitation for work.
None of the gas stations are even in operation right now because there's quite literally no gas. When the United States captured Maduro, their main supplier of gas and oil was
Venezuela.
shut off. So the country right now has hardly any gas, and if you do want to get gas, you have to wait in a line from the government. The guy that we're in our taxi with right now, he said his position to get gas is $1,200 in line, and gas from the government costs around
$1,200 in line, and it's $4 a gallon, and that's Cuba.
But gas, if you were to buy it on the black market, costs $10 per liter. That's $40 per gallon if you were to buy gas here in Cuba. Before they captured Maduro, was there gasoline in the gas stations?
Always. It was easy. Nowadays it's really bad, but it was easy to get gasoline.
And for you,
every day you can go to the gasoline station and buy it normally. It was normal.
Yep.
But nowadays, it's really bad.
Didn't Hassan tell us Cuba's awesome? Well, he got let into Cuba so he could do propaganda for them. Like, I mean, they're literally like, you have a lot of Westerners that are literally cooperating with authoritarian communist governments that suppress and kill their own people in order to try to own the United States.
¿Cómo está sobreviviendo la gente aquí en Cuba?
Just imagine the reality of it. With 1,000 sacrifices and 1,000 daily struggles, the average Cuban citizen is the one really going through absolute hell here in this country.
It's so interesting being here in Cuba because everything is just like empty. It's almost very like North Korea-like when you come into a massive plaza and there's not even cars. Like,
there's nothing there at all. Yeah, it's just nothing.
You can't even hear a car in sight. And they have all this other portraits of people and past leaders of Cuba, yet there's hardly anyone even here.
Oh my God.
It's very strange here. They're saying that this is even more quiet than during COVID, during the pandemic. Less people are even leaving the streets than during the pandemic. That's how bad the crisis is right now. And the Cuban people simply just don't have money, and they also just do not have the resources like gasoline to be able to go out.
So nobody can even go outside.
Their normal lives right now.
Holy shit.
We headed to a nearby hospital, and
like, look at this place. It's a complete shithole. Oh my God, this is awful. Look at it.
Moment on, we noticed we were being followed by Cuban police and their intelligence. After the word got out, I was asking people about communism.
And also, by the way, to say that this is the United States' fault is like the most retarded thing that you can possibly say. The reason why The reason why it's this bad is because the government's making it this way. There's nothing about the United States that tells Cuba that they have to put people in jail for speaking out against the government. Cuba does that all by itself. So this concept that somehow Cuba would be some kind of coastal paradise as long as the United States didn't come in and ruin everything, this is pure libtard delusion slop. The place is a shithole. It's a shithole ideologically. It's a shithole mechanically. And it's a shithole politically. It's a complete shithole. That's it. And if the thing is that if there was only one thing that they had wrong, which is like, for example, they were really poor, but everything else was okay, then I think you could make an argument that, well, maybe the U.S. is making things a lot worse for them. But the reality is that they're making things bad for themselves.
Communist country, there's no such thing as freedom of speech or
there
freedom of the press. In fact, if you speak out against the current regime or against communism, your neighbor can then report you to an area inside of the neighborhood where the government or the police will then come after you, and you have the risk of being imprisoned for speaking out against the regime.
And what's the reality of living inside of communism? ¿Qué es la realidad de vivir en comunismo?
Son presidente todo.
They're presidents of everything. They're bosses of everything.
Así que funciona.
Hay mucha gente que está muriendo.
This is one of the things that I think is really funny is that these people that are talking about like, I mean, this is basically, like everything that they criticize Trump doing for being fascist, these countries do 10 times worse. There's like no logic or reasoning for this at all.
Por el comunismo.
Por eso mismo, porque no hay pastillas, no hay nada para darle a la gente.
And what would be your last message to the people about living life in communism?
Bueno, el último mensaje que daré es que lo más malo que hay aquí en Cuba es el comunismo.
The worst thing in Cuba is communism. To live in communism is the worst thing now in Cuba.
El comunismo.
Wow.
¿Y qué piensa ahora de su propio presidente?
What do you think about your president?
Bueno, yo
I don't think he's capable to be president.
No tiene la capacidad para ser presidente.
Damn. Because we are dying of hunger.
Si no trabajamos, nos morimos de hambre.
Yep.
And do you believe that it's the responsibility of the government to give food to the people? ¿Crees que es la responsabilidad del gobierno para dar comida a la gente?
Yep.
Sí.
They're the bosses and to support the people.
Tienen que abastecer al pueblo.
¿Qué piensa de lo que está haciendo Donald Trump con el
What do you think about Trump letting oil or gas into the country?
Dejando gasolina para entrar. See, like people are very scared to answer and even give questions and responses here because of communism, and because when you say communism, when they say that they control the food or they control the jobs, they also control the freedom of press here. So a lot of people aren't used to talking on camera. And ¿qué piensa eso de?
Yeah.
Que se singa Díaz Canel.
Fuck the president. That's the only thing you're trying to say.
Que se singa Díaz Canel.
Fuck.
Security had noticed that 2 random individuals had appeared while we were doing these interviews, and they decided it was time to leave.
So what happened while we were conducting some of those interviews?
Right now, while we were finishing one of the interviews, some undercover cops, you could just tell they're undercover cops. They came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
They got on better used phones than the average person here, and they were right away communicating with each other, and they were trying to corner us out, so that's why we had to get out of there.
Oh my God.
So you do have government spies going around making sure that certain things aren't said.
Of course, and we stand out like sore thumbs here, so they're wondering why we're here with cameras, interviewing people. They want to know what's happening and what people are saying. That's why people are not talking to us much.
And it's also, you don't ever see any videos come out of Cuba.
That's 100% why you don't see videos come out of Cuba. It's very limited, the videos that you see come out of Cuba. Because they
did the United States make them do that? No.
Control everything.
We headed into downtown Havana with the hopes that we'd shake off the two.
Look at this. This is awful. This is terrible. It's just a complete shithole.
Spies that were telling us.
Yeah.
And I want you to notice the pure decay
Look
here.
at that.
The streets and the buildings
could be out of
look like
Africa.
they're about to fall apart, and this is due to 50 years of
I'd say Africa is probably even better.
Innovation inside of a communist country.
Oh my God.
We then went into one of the local markets to exchange some cash for some Cuban pesos.
And here in Cuba, their inflation has hit really hard here, so their peso does not really go that far, so the dollar does go a lot farther here. In fact, the average salary of someone here for the month is $14 USD. So right
$14 a month. Holy shit.
Now we're exchanging here on the streets of Cuba, and you get a lot better price for your dollar versus if you were to do it at the airport here in Cuba. How would you say life is here in Cuba?
La situación está mala.
What do you think
the situation's bad.
Ustedes que vengan para acá.
You're gonna come here. USA is gonna take Cuba.
Claro que sí.
Of course.
Claro, tú ven para acá.
¿Y te gustaría que los estadounidenses tomen
Would you
Cuba?
like the USA to take Cuba? Of course.
¿Y por qué?
Porque que vengan.
Why not? It's bad here.
Claro, para trabajar con ustedes.
Man.
What's your opinion about communism?
El comunismo es malo.
Communism is
¿Por qué está
bad.
mal?
Está malo, no hay comida aquí.
It's
¿Qué fue
bad.
el
There's no
cambio
food
después de
here.
Maduro fue capturado?
Holy shit.
Yeah, they can't talk about it. It's kind of interesting asking about these political situations that you could talk about in the United States completely freely, but a lot of people are timid, and you have to respect that because you don't want to put them in a bad situation. But people are very timid to talk about stuff politically here in the streets of Cuba. I mean, look at this one. You have coming down the street right here.
Yeah, these are all old cars. Look at this. Like these are like cars my dad would be like, "Oh, I remember when that one came out."
This is just
look at this.
Here in Cuba, it's kind of weird.
Off
the
in the
reason
50s,
for the old
yes.
cars here in Cuba is because in 1959 is when communism took effect, and the United States then later put an embargo on Cuba, which stopped new companies from working with Cuba. So all they had left was cars from the 1950s and earlier. Innovation tends not to take place in communism because there's no incentive for an entrepreneur to go out and create something because he'll receive no benefit because the
government takes everything.
The government controls what goes in and out, and also how much money you take from that underneath communism. So it completely kills entrepreneurship, which then kills innovation, and then you come up with a stagnant society like this one here in Cuba, where they have not developed any much further since around the 1950s. All these buildings here are still standing from the 1950s, but they have not innovated or there's nothing new here inside of this country. It's actually kind of sad to see.
This man right here will explain just how dangerous it is to speak out against communism inside of a communist country.
How's life in communism? ¿Qué es la realidad? What's the reality of it?
El comunismo. Yeah. Esa parte ahí
I can't talk about
no te puedo contestar esa parte porque no. Vaya, no sé qué decir.
I don't know what to tell you.
The people here no pueden hablar sobre el comunismo, hablar en contra del gobierno.
Aquí tú hablas en contra del comunismo y te meten preso. Te desaparecen.
You'll disappear.
La gente tiene miedo a hablar.
People are afraid to speak. If you speak, you disappear.
Pero aquí tú hablas y te desapareces.
So if you speak bad about communism here in Cuba, you'll be taken to prison and you'll just disappear.
Te pueden meter.
They put you in jail for days.
¿Me entiendes? Te dan golpe y todo.
Es imposible para hablar.
It's going to be so crazy whenever we go to Cuba and we just pack them up. Like, I wonder if it's even going to take a week. I wonder if they're going to just do what they did with Maduro, where they just get the main guy and then put him in a box, like in the U.S., or like if they're going to go and go all the way in. I don't know.
Sobre comunismo?
No tengo nada que decir.
I don't have anything to say. Yeah, I bet.
What's super interesting about talking about communism is they cannot speak bad about communism here inside of Cuba.
And because of the lack of oil inside the country, there's constant blackouts that are taking place each and every single day inside of Cuba. It's even affecting the education of the children. In fact, right now, inside of Cuba, the main university, the university that Fidel Castro attended, is currently shut down. And so right now...
That's the university?
Children and the
that looks like a fucking zombie map.
University students of Cuba are having a hard time getting education.
This is the National University of Cuba. I mean, this is a huge stadium they have, tons of seats, a track, and a football pitch, but it's all just has not been maintained
the grass is fucking dead. It's a shithole.
Are all rusting and
eroding. Oh my God.
¿Qué tal la vida aquí en Cuba? How's life here in Cuba?
It's all right. There are problems with transportation. You have no idea. The biggest problem for the youth? The biggest problem, the lights? Damn.
¿Cuántas veces al día se cortan la luz? How many times a day do they cut out the lights?
Almost every single day for an hour. So it's like yesterday for me, but every single day.
Yeah, how do you live through that as a young child? ¿Cómo se vive eso mientras que está un joven?
Not very good. The lights, it affects studying as well? Yeah, you can't even learn anything? Oh my God.
So the lights are affecting your entire life. Entonces los luces están afectando toda tu vida.
When it comes sometimes, it doesn't come back until the morning. Oh my God.
We left the university and did the most touristy thing we could do, and that was to hop into a 1950 Chevrolet and tour the city of Havana.
Man.
With one of the local guides.
That's insane.
We did this in the hopes that we would have less people following us. However, it just brought even more attention to us when we got back.
I don't see how you can look at something like this and then not come to the conclusion that obviously communism is garbage. Like, I mean, very clearly this is garbage. Very clearly this isn't working. Duh, it's not working.
To the hotel.
And how come here you guys still use old cars from the 1950s?
Porque estos son coches tradicionales.
These are traditional cars from before the revolution.
Coches
1950, 1959, we worked for the government.
De patrimonio de la humanidad y trabajamos para una agencia del gobierno.
So you guys work for the government still?
Del gobierno. Trabajamos para el gobierno.
We work for the government.
And this is kind of a random question, but do you know what a Tesla is? ¿Sabe qué es una Tesla?
No.
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 Man. That's sad.
Nunca he escuchado de un auto que se
Never
llama
heard of a Tesla.
No. BMW?
Tampoco.
Right now on Poly Market, there's a 45% chance that there's a clash between the U.S. military and the Cuban military. Do you think there will be a clash with the two militaries in 2026?
Like a clash? Like, I feel like that's such a broad term.
Eso es lo que pensamos muchos cubanos.
That's what a lot of Cubans think, yeah.
Because
we want the best for our country.
For
the kids, the schools, the hospitals, humble neighborhoods. Yeah.
Que tengan una mejoría.
Yeah, I bet you do.
So do you think it would be good if there was some intervention between the two militaries?
Sí, pienso que sí.
Damn.
Pienso que sí. Nosotros lo que queremos es tener la tranquilidad.
¿Qué piensa pasaría? What do you think would happen in that war?
Bueno, no pienso que sea una guerra en total.
I don't think it would be a total error. It'd be an improvement for the people.
Una mejoría para el pueblo.
Jesus Christ.
Para el pueblo, que es lo que queremos, una mejoría.
Because what's happened here in Cuba has not been good for the general public.
No está pasando bien. No está pasando, no la estamos pasando bien. Es normal que tengamos muchos problemas económicos.
And what do the people of Cuba think about Donald Trump and Marco Rubio?
Bueno, no te puedo decir exactamente qué piensan las personas porque cada cual tiene sus distintos pensamientos. Pero bueno, si es para bien para el pueblo y para nosotros los cubanos, que para bien sea.
Do you think it's necessary for change to happen here in Cuba? ¿Cree que es necesario que hay cambios aquí?
Sí, pienso que sí. Pienso que sí, muchos años. No sé, y todo el pueblo quiere que cambie la cosa.
And what would you say the reality of communism is?
Bueno, la realidad
of communism is high and the other isn't.
Y pienso que
communism should make everyone equal. Yeah, well, everybody is equal. Everybody lives in a shithole now. There you go. Perfect.
No uno sí, otro
no one's rich, nobody else.
Todo parejo.
And it's not like that. No es así.
Y no es así.
Right now, they say 7 out of 10 people here in Cuba.
The reason why it's never going to work is because it is in direct opposition with the nature of humanity. The nature of humanity is that people are not equal. So operating under the principle that people should have equal outcomes is a flawed principle to even begin with. So if your ideology is that everybody should have the same outcome, you will always create a system that fails because your system is being made in opposition to reality. That's the reason why.
Are going without their necessary meals here. Would you say that's true?
Es real, es real.
You think communism managed by AI would work? No, because people manage AI.
El aceite, el arroz, los frijoles, la carne, el pollo, muchos problemas, todo se está yendo.
People are naturally committed, communism kills it. It's not even that. Not everyone can buy food. Jesus Christ.
Para poder comprar los alimentos.
And was this happening before the blockade, or is this just now happening?
Sí, pienso que sí.
Anyone speaks about universal income? Just because I support a lot of social systems and other forms of social policies that can help people avoid going hungry and, you know, like losing their housing and stuff like that. I support a lot of that. But I think that if you are equating that with the way communism works in a country like Cuba, you have a fundamental misunderstanding of what it is.
So it's not new that this is happening.
No es nuevo.
For how many years have the people of Cuba been suffering?
Bueno, pienso que hace rato ya, pienso que hace tiempo ya que el pueblo está sufriendo por el tema de los alimentos
y muchas cosas.
El pueblo sufre que no se expresa porque tenemos miedo de la libertad de expresión. Porque algunas veces podemos expresar algo que no nos puedan entender y nos perjudica.
That's how we feel, then we get judged.
Por eso es que hay muchas personas que no hablan.
I'd be afraid.
And that's something I have noticed when we have been talking to people is a lot of people are scared to talk about the current situation here in Cuba because of communism, essentially.
Hay muchas personas que no quieren expresar lo que sienten porque tienen miedo a cualquier tipo de situación, a que puedan ir presos, a que le puedan quitar las casas, a muchas cosas como ha pasado. Que hay personas que han expresado lo que sienten.
There are people who tried to pass that problems with the government. Yeah, I bet.
And how much does it cost right now for gas?
Ahora tenemos $10.
$10 a liter.
Y la estamos comprando
and
en
we're buying on the black market.
And how much?
Holy shit!
Por eso que ha subido los impuestos.
For this, we raised the prices on taxes.
What would be your message to all the people in the world about what's actually happening here in Cuba?
Queremos una mejoría. Necesitamos
we want better. We need better.
Una mejoría para que el pueblo esté bien.
And this is where things began to get really weird. As we arrived back to the hotel, this man began following us. He was all alone
and look at
moving.
See, this is the thing. Look at how nice it is for all of the Westerners. It's like this is like your traditional, Mexican villa, right? Everything is nice. The lights are on, all of that. The moment that you leave this, though, it's just a total shithole. Yeah, he's got Jason Statham after him.
As we moved, security noticed him telling us. We played it cool and left the hotel a few hours later, and after one interview on the street, we caught the web of spies following and monitoring everything I was doing as this man exposed the raw reality of Cuba unfiltered.
What happens at nighttime here in Cuba? ¿Qué pasa aquí en la noche?
What happens at night?
En la noche tú la ves vacía, que no hay nada.
At nighttime there's nothing.
No hay nada.
There's nothing.
No hay diversión, no hay nada, no hay luz, no hay agua, no hay nada. No hay comida, no hay medicamento, no hay
food, no medicine,
Yo no sé hasta cuándo vamos a seguir así.
How much longer we're going to go on like this?
Yeah. Come in and have military intervention here?
Claro, para
salir
de
esta lead the situation?
Por supuesto.
Yeah.
Para salir de esta historia.
What is the situation right now?
Que no hay nada, no tenemos luz,
no power, no
tenemos
food,
comida,
no medicine.
No tenemos medicamento, no tenemos
we lack even the
la
most
primera
basic hospital necessities.
De un hospital. No hay nada, no tenemos nada. No hay un ser humano que pueda vivir así.
Can live like this? Oh my God.
Es demasiado.
And what would be your message to the rest of the world about the
just
realities?
Look around him. Like everything is decayed and just complete. It's just a shithole. I mean, look at this. It's awful.
What's happening here in Cuba? ¿Cuál sería su mensaje a todo el mundo de la realidad de lo que está pasando aquí en Cuba?
Te estoy diciendo cuál es la verdad. El que te diga algo que no sea lo que yo te estoy diciendo es porque tiene miedo. Pero es lo que está pasando todo el mundo. Mira esa vieja a mí.
Begging for food with their dog.
Perro pidiendo comida. Mírala ahí.
Oh my God.
Que no tiene acá. Mírala ahí.
Look at her, talk to her.
Mírala ahí. Dile ahí.
What is this?
Mira. Ven, mírala ahí. Pregúntale ahí.
Hola, señora.
What are you going to?
Todo lo que tú estás pasando.
Not with the camera?
Sí, la gente no quiere.
People don't want to be on camera.
Ese es el problema, que la gente no quiere video. Porque la meten presa. Ese es el problema. El problema es
What's the problem? They put you in jail?
Cuando salgan por video. Si ahora tú publicas
you post this video, I'm going to jail.
Ahora, si tú publicas ese video,
God damn.
yo voy preso. Preso. Vamos por eso.
What's your thoughts on communism? ¿Qué piensas de comunismo?
Lo más malo que ha existido en la vida.
The worst thing to exist. There it is.
Lo más malo que ha existido en la vida es el comunismo.
Holy
Porque
shit.
realmente
in reality, none of them are communists. Exactly.
What do you mean by that?
They get rich and exploit the people. Isn't it crazy how the same thing happens every single time? Like every single time the same thing happens. Wow. Surely there must not be surely it's the United States' fault.
Para ti como no hay ninguna comunista, como que
No, porque no hay eso no existe. El comunismo es la igualdad del hombre por el hombre, aquí eso no existe.
Equality for man doesn't exist here? Holy shit. They're the ones with everything. They have electricity. They have the nicest cars. They have oil. They have gas. Yep. There it is. The majority of the companies are theirs.
Why do you think they defend communism?
No
funciona.
No funciona.
It doesn't work.
El que defiende
el comunismo, defend communism or with the
Castro
family.
La Castro, o alguien que le
or
tenga
someone who's
miedo,
afraid of them, someone who lives off the government.
Que vive del gobierno.
Who gets rich off the dictatorship.
De esa dictadura.
Many
right
such
now
cases.
In the United States, a lot of people think that communism and socialism is the way to go. What would be your message to them? Because they think capitalism has failed them. mucha gente en los Estados Unidos ahora creen que comunismo y socialismo es la manera de donde deberíamos ir.
No.
Eso
No.
¿Qué sería su mensaje?
Lo peor
The worst
que
thing you can have happen in life is socialism. Yeah, no.
Pasar al socialismo, al comunismo, porque
Oh
es
my God.
la gran mierda. No existe el que te vea la miseria, a la obstinación, al hambre, a la hostigación, a todo. Fíjate
Imagine
que
your
nada
salary, you
de lo
can't
que tú
even
puedes-
buy cooking
nada
oil.
Del salario, nada más
It's pretty
te alcanza para
bad.
comprar una botella de aceite. ¿Cómo tú crees que tú puedes vivir
How
así?
can you live like that?
¿Cómo tú puedes vivir
Well, they're
con una
dying.
libreta de razonamiento que nada más que te
How
dan
can you live with a ration book that gives
3
you 3
libras de
pounds
azúcar
of sugar
y una de sal?
and 1 of salt?
Y ya, y a 15,
Every
a
wait. You get 3 pounds of sugar every 15
6 meses, 7 años, te dan una
Each
bota
year
para
they
un
give you a
huevo.
chicken
El
and an
huevo no
egg.
viene hace un año.
Dude, eggs haven't arrived in a year. What, nobody can figure out how to grow chickens? What the fuck is going on over there? This is insane. What the fuck do you mean?
Hace un año que no viene el huevo.
Un año
Imagínate.
desde que no ha tomado un huevo.
El huevo tienes que
Eggs haven't
comprarlo.
arrived in a
El
year.
huevo tienes que comprarlo por la...
You have to go to
por
buy
la-
the eggs from the
por la
private
calle de las
grocery
Vivinas.
stores.
Pero el
The
Estado, la
ration book
libreta,
the government gives you
ya no
nothing.
tienen nada. Yo no sé qué
I don't
significa la
know what it's
libreta.
for. It brings.
Porque ya
Oh
no
my
viene nada.
God.
La
The
remesa que
shipments
ustedes
you
dan,
send to
la
humanitarian
ayuda,
aid.
no las venden.
Wait a minute. The shipments that America sends for humanitarian aid, they end up selling back to the. What a shithole, man. Oh my God.
Nosotros después, la ayuda nunca viene al pueblo.
The aid never arrives
Lo
to
que
new
tú
people.
traes nunca viene al pueblo.
By the way, do you see the reason now why so many of these people want us to give aid to these countries? It's because they support the governments and that they know the aid will enable the governments to continue doing this, that will feed their worldview. That's the reason why.
Esa gente que viene que está trayendo toda
Gaza
esa
stuff?
ayuda.
Well, the thing is
esa
that,
ayuda-
like, whether it's Sudan, Gaza, Guatemala, like pre-Bukele El Salvador, Cuba, Zimbabwe, they're all the same. Every single one is the exact same. They all do the exact same thing because that's what people do. We've been doing this for 20,000 years. That's the way it is.
Tú no la ves. Yo no sé dónde él entrega, pero esa ayuda tú no la ves.
Look at the woman in the lap. Yeah.
¿Qué sería su mensaje a Donald Trump y Marco
Oh,
Rubio?
she's recording
Donald
him.
Trump y Marco Rubio, estoy esperando
I
por
am
ustedes,
waiting
por
for
favor,
you guys,
para ver
please.
si podemos vivir como
Oh,
personas,
man. See if we
vivir
can live
como
like
personas,
people.
Vivir como ser
To
humano,
live like a human
tener las
being.
primeras
To have
necesidades como vive un
necessities to
ser
live
humano.
like a human being
Porque
because we are
estamos
living
viviendo peor
worse
que los
than
animales.
animals.
Peor que los animales estamos viviendo.
¿Cree que sería bueno que los Estados Unidos ayudan?
Claro, por supuesto.
Oh my God.
Todo el mundo está esperando la intervención porque la gente
What do you say of the argument that the blockade since the 60s? Surely countries would end up like this if they can't import anything? I think, though, why did the blockade cause them to put their own people in political prisons? Why'd they do that? Why can't they grow a chicken? And also, like, let's be pragmatic here for a minute, okay? Let's just be realistic here. Is it worth the suffering of all of your people for you to keep your ideology on life support and then take your entire country into a total fucking, like, a ghettoization of the entire country, millions of people displaced, millions of people starving, living in shitholes, living like animals, so you can keep the idea of communism alive? At a certain point, Cuba should recognize its position. They're not going to be able to stop the United States. What they should have done a long time ago is just do whatever we said. That's what they should have done. They should have immediately rolled over, and everybody else in the country would be better off for it. But they don't want to do that, and it's because of ideology. It's more important for them to maintain this ideology and get all of their people killed than to admit that maybe they did something wrong. That's it. The blockade was basically no communism or starve. Well, then why would they choose communism? Who chooses communism? And that's who chooses the decision of, well, let's see, do I want all of my people to be killed and starve and live in absolute poverty, or do I want to change the government? Who does that? I'll tell you who does that. People that don't have to live like that. Because they're not the ones living like that. The people making that decision to continue this, aggressive, antagonistic relationship with the United States, where they're backing our enemies and everything. They're living in nice houses. They're rich. They're totally fine. So they have no problem sacrificing the well-being for all of their people so they can maintain this power structure. That's it. If communism is so wonderful, why aren't they self-sufficient? Because they're a shithole. Like again, nothing about, look at the social laws they have. Look at the laws on expression that they have. We didn't do that. They did that.
Que la intervención que van a matar a la gente, no. Ya ellos saben los puntos claves, que saben que hay comité central, que hay el punto cero, que sabe, todo el mundo sabe dónde están los catos. Ellos saben dónde están los catos.
The gas is probably don't even live in Cuba. Yeah. America bombed Cuba and helped the people. Hopefully they bomb some of the the main leadership. Are you taking our photos? Man.
Wow.
He's getting roached out.
And film that lady. Get a shot of her. Wow. And
she's trying to roach.
This lady had spawned out of nowhere and began spying on us. For instance, look at it. She comes into frame right here, and then she hides behind the lamppost, and then all of a sudden she starts filming us, and then when she goes to the other side of the lamppost, she then begins to act like she's on a phone call. However, she continues to point her camera.
She maintains the camera angle directly at them. Yeah.
Towards our direction. The guy I'm interviewing then notices that she's filming us. He goes and confronts her.
Yeah, I'm sure this is also because of the United States.
Runs to the other side of the street. She then turns the corner and my security guard follows her to see where she goes. And who does she meet up with? She meets up with the man who was following us inside of the hotel. And after we had confirmed that we were being followed by Cuban intelligence and their spies were spying on us, we hurried back up to our hotel room and made a plan to escape Cuba.
She makes her way through the woods to him. And then he goes, no, like saying, don't sit here. Boom, sits there. So they're together, 100%. Come back to the hotel, buddy's there. They're 100% watching us.
Damn.
Option 2 is, there's no more flights out today. They're 100% on to us.
So you think we gotta leave tomorrow morning?
If we're gonna deal with the pressure at one point, which I think we're going to anyways, we do it trying to leave early at the airport, where there's public eyes. We're in Cuba, we're in Comitown. So this is a different ballgame for all of us.
Think we can get a boat tonight?
I was thinking about making a call to see if we were to do that, how far would the U.S. Coast Guard need us to be? They're 1,000%. So Billy's advantage is,
oh my God.
This is literally the North Korea of Latin America, and we have spies on us.
Jesus.
100%.
Yeah, this is all because of America. Yeah, doing this, and think about this, right? You're investing time and energy and resources into doing this. This is what they think is more important than actually taking care of their people.
We're not there. I'm 100% convinced.
Yeah.
But if we grab our bags right now, we make an escape, they're going to say, hey,
so doing it in China too. The thing, here's the difference between this and China. China generally, and also, by the way, China's communist? Right. They're selling these, there's billionaires in China. They have these massive houses. People are riding around in sports cars. Right. It's so communist. Yeah. And so, the reason why I think that people put up with it with China is because, really, because to the extent that they are, I mean, they are to an extent, is because it's not a shithole. It's not. You look at the fucking towns in China, they look nice. At least, I mean, I'm sure there are places in China that are like this. I'm sure there are. But for the most part, you at least have a better quality of life. They have eggs there, okay? They have eggs.
they're going to shut this whole bitch down looking for us.
And to make things even worse, Cuba was having their May Day march just outside our hotel in the morning. So all around the hotel,
I think they have eggs.
Military and Cuba government was surrounding the hotel, protecting the streets for the march the next morning.
Yeah. My thoughts. So tomorrow they're going to have the march for the May 1st march. Yeah. It's a big march. So it starts at 6. They're either going to come for us by 3 or 4. So we have to be out of here by then. Yes. And whether that's us bouncing around the city in a pair of 2 and one off on their own, and maybe I'll meet back up. But we have to distract them enough by the time it's our time to board on the airport at 8 a.m. They're too occupied doing this march thing. We took a bit of a risky move and headed down to the lobby to act as if we had no idea they were spying on us and act very casual. So security puffed on some Cuban cigars, I drank some water, security chatted up with some of the people working at the hotel, and then we went back upstairs and barricaded ourselves into the hotel room for the night. And then at 4 a.m. we made our attempt to escape the hotel. Alright, 4 a.m. now, we're in the elevator, we're heading down to the bottom lobby, and we're making our way out. Right now, the people are gathering on the streets. We have one of the security guards down the bottom, making sure that it's clear for us to walk out of the lobby right now. And now we're heading out, getting on a taxi, and making our way to the airport.
Time to roach out? Yeah.
One of the security guards was stopped by someone at the hotel.
Seems like
she asked why we are leaving the hotel early, and she would not let us leave. They were stalling for some reason, and then when we did try to make it out to go get a taxi, the guy barely let us out the door, and then when we got out to get a taxi, they called us back in. We're running into some complications here, just trying to get out. They're asking why we're trying to leave the hotel early.
Immigration police.
Oh boy.
And they took us into the back room of the hotel, and we had a meeting with a 2-star general who interrogated us for 10 to 15 minutes about why we're trying to leave Cuba, what was our purpose of our travels, what kind of questions we were asking.
You saw the 2 stars, right? Yep, there it is. That's nuts. 2-star general.
Asking the people on the streets what kind of footage we got. The general then said we could go, and he said they would get us a taxi to the airport. However, we waited for 5 minutes and there was no taxi. We thought we were about to get set up, so we left the hotel and set off on foot to escape Cuba. As soon as we made it down to the hotel lobby, they had their guys down there. We had immigration, and they brought us in for an interview. Gabe, so what's the current circumstances that we got going on right now in Cuba? We're trying to find a taxi. We've left the hotel. We're a few miles out now. No taxis are anywhere. How are we getting out of Cuba?
So, number one, second we got downstairs, we had, what you want to call their undercover police, walking through the lobby, just playing it cool, acting like there's nothing. Once you and I came downstairs, and you guys made your way out to the front, 2-star general came out of nowhere, and
that's insane.
He asked as politely as possible, but with firm action, like, hey, I need to sit down, we need to talk to you guys. And then he realized that he was pressing, so he's like, hey, could you just bring in your friend so we could talk? And I was like, oh, what's going on? And he goes, I would want to talk inside. That's when he came outside to the outside lobby. I was trying to just engage the conversation there, and he said, I would like to talk inside. We had our conversation. Now they let us leave, and now we're on foot.
That's actually surprising they did.
And the hospital. And we got about another 1.5 miles to the airport, 2 miles. So we're on foot.
I'm at a kid's full of shit doing the whole escape thing for views. Why do you think that it's bullshit? Why do you think that? Yeah, what makes you think that? Yeah, what's the reason? What are they going to do? Disappear a bunch of Americans? Yeah, they could probably hold them there for a while, maybe torture them, maybe hold one of the guys, but then let the other ones go. Yeah, sure. Or they could also take their stuff, beat them up. They could do a bunch of stuff. I mean, maybe they're not going to hold them hostage for like 5 years, but they might hold them hostage for a week. They might hold them hostage for a month. They might, like abuse them. They just recorded the video they could have sent to family. I'm confused by what you mean by that. I'm confused. I mean, do you think that the government doesn't do that? Like, so what do you think happens? Like, let's say, like, you go to Cuba. Why don't they have any more video of them with the general? Why do you think they don't have any more video with them with the general? Why do you think? If you had to guess yourself. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. So what is this? They didn't search their phones because if it was a big deal, they would have just taken them. I mean, earlier they could have sent them all the earlier home videos. Someone would have come up and seen them miss him. Seems like a big drama feast in the end for views. The rest seems legit. I think you underestimate how dangerous these governments can be. And also, like, you don't know what they would have done. Why did they not do that? Maybe they didn't have reason to suspect that they had to do that. Maybe they hadn't fully investigated it all the way. Maybe the reason why the guy wasn't there is that they were trying to figure it out. Like, how do you, like, you're trying to understand what their thought process is. I don't know what their thought process is. But everything that they've shown shows that, like, I mean, what do you think, for example, right? Like, let's say you go to Cuba and you start talking about how bad the government there is at Cuba. What do you think happens? Yeah, what do you think? I can see how the kid scares, feels grounded, feels refused. Yeah, you've said that 3 times now. What do you think happens? Like, you go to Cuba and you express negative sentiment about the government. Hold on. So I'm asking you, like, let's say you're an American citizen and you express negative sentiment about the government and you're in Cuba. What do you think happens? Like, this is it, right? So you express it, but what are they going to actually do to an American citizen outside of you holding you or taking your phone? Well, there's a lot they could do besides that, right? I mean, they could beat you up. They could put you in jail. They could starve you. They could torture you in different ways. I mean, there's tons of ways that they could do that are not killing you. I mean, killing you's the obvious one, right? But, like, even beyond that, they put you in jail, yeah. I mean, right? I mean, is that outrageous? Arrest you and your friends, and then America gets involved. Their families are gonna see you're gone. Yeah, but the thing is that don't you see? This is the problem that a lot of people don't understand is that you are operating under the principle that there is either all or nothing. The odds are they weren't going to put Nick Shirley in jail and kill him. But are those the only 2 things that are on the spectrum of bad? Of course not. There are dozens of other things that they could have done to Nick Shirley that would be traumatic, stressful, or negative to him that don't involve putting him in jail forever or killing him. So the concept that these are unless those 2 things are happening, then they're totally not at risk is naive. I'm going to sit deals and absolutes. Yes, exactly. Like, obviously, they're not going to, they're probably not going to kidnap a journalist and do this, but would they maybe beat it? You're right. Seems so dramatic. It comes off as a fish for views. Yeah, because they're stressed out. And also, you don't know what's going to happen. There it is, right? I mean, it seems so dramatic. So you don't like the fact that it's dramatic. If you were in... Okay, so let me ask you this situation again. If you were in his situation, would you be really stressed out? Would have been, but I'm not a content creator. If you were recorded when you were in that situation, do you think that you would have behaved this way? You would have been stressed out, and because I'd be really stressed out. I'd be insanely stressed out. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to work through your reasoning for you to come to the understanding that your feelings on this and the way that you would have approached this is probably the same. Anyway, we move on. Wasting
Hopefully
time.
we can get a taxi at some point if we don't get squeezed in before.
And there's no taxis out right now. That's a bit of a problem right now. The streets are
it's 4 in the morning.
Empty, and everybody's going the opposite direction.
By the grace of God, we found one taxi driver in all of Havana who
One guy.
take us to the airport.
Wait,
the
you just...
problem? It's a tricycle that only goes 10 miles per hour.
All right, we got our taxi.
Fucking based. There you go.
It's our taxi to the airport.
Look at that. Look at that. That's insane.
We're gonna get into to make it to the airport. This is our taxi we have right now. It's the only option we had available. We're gonna try to find another car taxi because this is taking too long to get to the airport. And our flight's gonna leave without us. And right now we currently have the entire government of Cuba onto us, so that we're trying to leave the country.
Man. You should ride one of those, bro.
Get another taxi. We've been in this taxi for the past hour or so. Suns came up. We finally made it to the airport, and now this is our last stretch in order to get out of Cuba. They might press us one more time inside the airport, so we don't know exactly. We're not out of here for certain, for good. They might make one last push at the airport. They could either ask us some more questions or not let us board our flight. They do have all my camera gear inside the airport right now, so we have to get all of that.
Yeah, I bet how. Yeah, I don't know how it's gonna work.
Everyone's on the know that we're trying to leave Cuba right now. We'll see if they let us board our commercial flight.
Yeah, you see, like it's bright outside.
And now I had to go get my camera gear that they had seized just 24 hours before.
Damn.
They questioned me for another 30 minutes. They then took one of my security guards, questioned him as well, and then they ended up letting us get onto our
Oh my gosh. Muchas gracias.
Man.
Gracias. Oh, we're making it onto the plane right now. I've never been so happy to make it onto a plane.
I got pulled up by two guys. They wanted to do the smooth approach, like, hey, what's going on? Why are you guys here? Why are you guys leaving so soon? You guys got here yesterday. After going back and forth, and I was done with the small talk already. I was like, bro, if something's gonna happen, let it happen already. And he's like, I'm like, listen, we had a 2-star general at our hotel at 5 in the morning. You guys are here now. We were pressed all day yesterday. What's up? And he's like, even the president knows that you guys are here.
The president of Communist Cuba knew that we were here.
He knows that we were here. Facts.
Damn.
They know. They've been watching us all day. They know that we're here. So.
You might not see 3 more happier men in the world right now.
Oh my God.
Feels like Christmas morning. How are you?
Made it out. Oh my gosh.
People are saying it's bullshit reporting. These are the same people that were saying that the Minnesota stuff was bullshit. These are the same ones. And the reason why they're saying that is they want to downplay the bad actors and the bad behaviors of communism and communist governments because they agree with them. All they're trying to do is run defense and run cover for something that they are ideologically aligned with. That's the only reason. W. Nick Shirley? Yeah, I know. And I did say, listen, guys, listen. I could fuck around for a lot longer. I could do plenty more, but I did promise you guys I would try that game. And I'm going to get into it. We're going to try it out, see what it's like. I don't know how long I'm going to play this. I have no idea. Before I do that, though, I want to say this is a Nick Shirley video. I'm a huge fan of Nick Shirley. I love Nick Shirley. I completely agree with his ideology on this, and I wish we had more people that felt that way, right? I do. Like, that would be great.